What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dude Ranch DIY. My name is Jake, and today we are going to be doing some firewood. Haven't done a firewood video in a while. I've been trying to, change it up a little bit, keep it interesting, not just only do firewood. However, in the dead of winter, it's kind of hard to change it up because I'm not doing much else, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed the past couple videos. But for those of you that are firewood focused, today's video is going to be for you. Yesterday, I had Alex over. For those of you who don't know who that is, he is the new guy that has been helping Chris and I out in the Woodyard. It was just he and I yesterday, and we got a bunch of wood cut up. Yesterday, we started to split, and relatively quickly after starting to split, Alex noticed a leak going on here coming off of the Eastonmade 2228. And he called my attention to it. I came over and we took a look, and it turns out that there was hydraulic fluid coming out of this gauge here. You could see it actually just dripped, and you could see it's all down below here. And I guess what happened was there's supposed to be a little vent, a rubber like vent nipple in the top of these gauges. And as you can see, it is no longer there. So yesterday morning, it was pretty darn cold when we got out here. I think it was about 11 degrees. So my guess is that from those pretty cold temperatures, the gasket or the little nipple plug thing shrunk, and a little bit of pressure in that gauge must have, forced it out, and it popped out, and, that is what we were left with. So luckily, I called up the fine folks at Eastonmade Wood Splitters. It was a Friday. They answered. I got in touch with Henry, who's in charge of parts and service and stuff, and he took care of me as usual right away. Within about 10 minutes of getting off the phone with him, I had already had a FedEx tracking number. He's sending me a brand new pressure gauge, and he gave me a solution. He said, in the meantime, you can unscrew that pressure gauge and plug it with a little brass plug like you see that I have here, and that should keep you up and running until the new gauge comes. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here before Alex gets here this morning. Got the burn barrels warming up. They still had plenty of hot coals in them from yesterday. We've been burning a ton of scrap, both to keep warm and to save, a little bit of cost. So today's plan is basically to split up as much or all of this wood as possible. There's a lot of beech, ash, maple, and a little bit of even locust in here. You can see there's a couple locust logs right on the top there. But this should all make some pretty nice stuff going through the Eastonmade. Yes, I have the Baumalight mini skid steer back. For those of you that didn't see that video that I posted a couple days ago, go check it out. I'll put a link to it up here. But the Baumalight has been working great, and it's a pleasure to have it back in the yard. Now, it's been a while since I've kind of showed you guys around the Woodyard because I haven't been doing firewood videos. That doesn't mean that I haven't been doing firewood. First thing you'll notice is just how small our log pile is getting. This pile used to come out, you could see from where all the leaves and stuff are. And this was just since the last time that I cleaned it. But the log pile used to come out to about here. And at one point it was extended out even farther. But we are cooking through logs. So I'm hoping to start revamping or restocking, I should say, the log pile for the coming, months of splitting, because we should be able to get through this last little bit relatively quickly. Also, in a video a while back, you saw briefly that Chris and I cut up all of those IBC totes and got rid of all the bladders and stuff. So we have a ton of lids over here and a bunch of brand new fresh totes that we've been working on filling up. But even those totes are starting to dwindle. We'll fill those up pretty quick. And the totes are literally stacking up. I've decided to start stacking them on top of each other to save some space as far as wood storage, and so far so good. It's working great. I can stack them up with both the tractor and the mini skid steer. Both machines lift them up full green, oak, whatever, no problem. So when I have a little bit of time, every now and then I just come down and I start shuffling totes from over here over to here and stack them up, because that will allow me a lot more room down in this area where we do the majority of our drying. All of this wood is ash firewood, ready to go. This is the remaining wood that I will be stocking the firewood stand with for the season. Some of this wood down at the very end was split, I'd say as early as I think July or August, based on the dates on the totes. So that stuff should be approaching dry based on, you know, that's all dependent on the species. There's a lot of oak in here, which might not be ready quite yet, but we do have some totes that are like beech and some maple and stuff like that. So that's enough chit chat and Woodyard updates, but that's what's been going around the yard. If you got any questions, drop a comment down below. But I'm going to try to get this pressure valve off and plugged up so that we can start firing up the machines, warming them up to make some firewood. Here we go. And it's not the right size, of course. All right, well, Napa doesn't open till 9 a.m., so it's 8:30. We gotta wait a little bit. All right, guys, while we're waiting for the parts store to open up, I wanted to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Camel City Mill Work Socks. You guys have probably heard me talk about them before in the videos. They are absolutely awesome socks. If you guys are on your feet all day, like I am, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, in the hot weather, in the cold weather, Camel City Mill has a work sock for you. Camel City Mill socks are made out of a unique woven merino wool blend. They're 100% made in America, down in North Carolina, I believe, and they are fantastic. I'm getting smoked out here by the burn barrel, but I'm wearing Camel City Mill socks right now, and it's 20-something degrees. I wore them all winter long when it was 90 degrees, and they keep my feet nice and dry. Your feet, you don't feel like you have trench foot at the end of the day after wearing boots, work boots, and being on your feet all day. They have a 10-year satisfaction guarantee. So if you don't like those socks, you can return them, no questions asked. But I don't think anybody has ever returned their socks. That's how good they are. Going from old cotton socks or the thick wool socks that, you know, are supposed to help keep your feet warm, but they really just get all sweaty. So Camel City Mill, they're doing something right. I really recommend them. They got a great website. They got 3 different heights for the socks. Summertime, they got a crew sock. You know, fall, springtime, they got a shin sock, and then in the winter, they got socks that go like basically all the way up to your knees, and they don't fall down and get all scrunched up at the end of the day. You're not constantly pulling them up your leg just to be comfortable in your boots. So check out the coupon code and the link down in the description. Camel City Mill Work Socks. I love them. You'll love them too. All right, we got the new plug. You can see it's quite a bit larger, so hopefully it's the right size.
guys, so I just came over and I saw Alex had stopped the machine. What just happened there?
So while I was chopping the wood, I noticed that the conveyor belt stopped. So first thing I did was to back it down, the conveyor belt, and then try to send it back up. Did that about 2 times just to see what would happen. Wasn't going back up, so then I went to the bottom over here and noticed that 2 little pieces of wood were jammed up in the thing right here.
In the sprocket there.
In the sprocket. So I pulled them out, and again, same procedure. I sent the conveyor belt back up, back down, didn't work. Jake came back over, and then we noticed actually right here that it skipped one.
Basically, yeah, the sprocket had skipped a link on the chain, so it was binding up right in here. So just like a bicycle chain, we took a piece of wood, shoved it in the sprocket there, in between the sprocket and the chain, and reversed it, and it was able to hop itself back out. But the reason why I think this was happening was because, as you can see here, we got a frozen mass of like sawdust and just really fine shit, and it was up in this area. You'll see that there's kind of like a little shelf right there, and it just sits there, and that allows stuff to kind of build up in there and then eventually get jammed up in the sprocket. So if any of you guys have these attached conveyor machines, let me know what you would do here, but I'm thinking that it might just be worthwhile to cut out this little, you know, lip, because then everything would just drop straight down. I'm not really sure why that lip is there, if it's like a structural reason or it's like crucial to the integrity of the conveyor, but if this thing wasn't here, everything would just drop down into our catch pan here, and I think that would probably cause less jam ups on the conveyor. So Andrew, if anybody from Eastonmade is watching, let me know what you think about cutting out that little section. But so far so good. Alex has been cranking out the firewood. I've been stacking up the totes to make more room. So I'm gonna hop in the excavator, push some more rounds your way.
That's
Here
it.
we go.
Keep going.
one thing I don't like about this machine is this lower fuel gauge. It's kind of sandwiched in there, and while you can see it, it's kind of tough to see. There's a secondary one over here, which is obviously very easy to see, but watch, we'll see the fuel start coming up. There's like a couple gallon gap between when you can see it on the bottom one versus when you can see it on this top gauge. Should start peeking through right about now. And there it is. I did a whole video on this Weather Guard fuel station. Believe it or not, I got this whole thing, the pump, everything, the nozzle from the dump for free. We're gonna kick it into high gear, rabbit mode, baby. High speed. It's a nice smooth transition. It doesn't just jerk you around. Alex just hopped on the mini skid steer. I've been giving him a little, well, not seat time, but I guess stand time on the machine. He's getting used to it little by little, and you know, it just helps me when I'm not actively using it. He can hop on, pull these totes out of here, and bring some freshies in. So we'll see how he does. So right now you can see he has the tote kind of on the tips of the forks, but I taught him to do that, to put it on the tips, pull it back a little bit. It's all good. So remember what I said, once you pull it back a little bit, put it down, and then you want those forks all the way in. That's why you're tipping forward. So now put it down, all the way, down, lower your boom down, straight ahead, yeah, good. Now go in all the way, slam into it. There you go. Now put the joystick to the left, curl it in. You always want to curl in, yeah, there you go. Now you got it. Now don't lift it up too much. That's good. There we go. So, Alex, that tote is gonna go down there. bit more. Go forward a little bit more. Perfect. Beautiful. There we go. That's how it's done. So easy, a beginner can do it.
So, like me and Jake were just talking about, I've only used this like a handful of times, but you know, over time, once I start using it more, I'll be a little more familiar. Jake was just telling me, just as a friendly reminder, when you put it to the left, it curls in, and when you push it to the right, it curls out. For me personally, being new to this, it's a great machine to use, but once I put the forks in, it's a little hard for me to remember like where the forks go when you like curl in and curl out. But once, like over time, once I start getting more familiar with it, it'll be like secondhand nature.
That's all it takes is time. And then when you're going backwards, everything's opposite.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm a lot better like driving wise than I am like maneuvering the forks.
Yeah, it all just takes a little bit of seat time, but in this case there's no seat, so you know, stand time. All right, you think you got what it takes to pick up the second one and stack it up on that first one?
This is gonna be a first, so.
All right, well I guess we'll find out. Now this one, you could go in all the way. There you go. Beautiful. There's a first time for everything, folks. How you gonna learn if you don't give them the opportunity to try it? The way that I see it is that yes, this might be taking more time than if I were to be on the machine doing this. But by teaching Alex these skills and advancing him to do more things than just be able to run the Eastonmade splitter, it allows me the opportunity to let him do those things, and then I can be doing other things that need to get done. Because on days like today, where there's just two of us, he can basically be running the whole splitting operation. And in theory, I could be on the tractor stacking up these totes, let's say, or he could be on the tractor and I could be on the mini skid steer stacking up the totes, depending on which machine we want to use. I'm letting him use the mini skid steer first because I think it's a lot easier visibility wise to see exactly what you're doing. You can see the tips of your forks, absolutely no problem. And it's just a smaller machine, so there's less risk of him running into something. You know, by not knowing, you know, the parameters or the, you know, confines of the actual footprint of the machine. So now we're gonna let him try and stack up this tote here. Okay, now with this, you wanna get as close as you can to that tote before you start lifting it up. Once you start lifting it up, the machine's gonna wanna tip forward. So it's really important to have this curled back as you lift it up. So you're gonna, curl it all the way back. Yeah, good, like that. Now we're gonna drive in. Good. Now you wanna slowly lift it up, yep. Now stop, curl it back. Good. Now lift up. Okay, now stop. Now look at your load. So now pull in, because you have all this extra space now. And see how it's a little tippy? Now watch. See these little cutouts here? Those go right on the corner of the tote right here. So but it doesn't have to be exact. It's not gonna sit right down flush because there's wood higher up, you know? But now you can come come forward. And basically you want to rest this back edge right here. So come in, keep coming, good. Now stop. Now start curling it down. Beautiful. Now you can drive it. Yeah, you got it. Good, now curl it. Good. Now curl it down. Now come in a little bit. Good. Now curl it down. Perfect. That's good. Curl down. Curl down. Now lift, curl down. And now lift up a little bit. And it'll straighten the tote out, because right now it's a little cockeyed, leaning towards you. Good. That's good. Now back straight out. You want to try and take the pressure off the forks. Yep. Good. Lift up. Good. Now back out. Slowly. Slow. Beautiful job. This kid's a natural. His first day, he's stacking full large totes on top of each other. Look at that. You kind of get the feel for it, you know?
That was a first, so there was two options. Either I was going to do really well or I was going to screw up really bad.
Well, I'd say you did really well.
I still think that was okay.
So once you kind of get the feel for it, you'll, you know, pick up some little tricks and tips, but that's the easiest way. I always try and match up those two corners, because if those two corners are matched up and aligned with the bottom tote, then chances are the front two corners that you can't see will also be aligned.
And them being similar in size, well, I think these are actually the same size.
They're the same size. The only difference between the small totes and the large tote is the height. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, that wasn't bad though, honestly,
No,
for a first one.
not bad at all. And you'll start to notice, see how the top tote has a plastic bottom and the bottom tote has a metal bottom? It's gonna be the same thing if you're stacking a metal one. You just line up that bar with the top and it sits right in.
Yeah, not bad. Just keep going. You know?
Yeah, just keep practicing. All right, go grab 2 empty ones, get back to work. You feeling confident?
Yeah, I think I'll be fine.
You think you can do it?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
All right, don't get too cocky on me now.
I'm not.
All right, now the most important thing when you're lifting up these ones that are stacked 3 high is that's a lot of height. So you're going to come in and pick up the top 2, and it's really important that you want to make sure that your forks are flat. They're parallel to the ground. So that way, once they're flat, you can just lift up a little bit, just enough to clear the lip on the bottom. And then you back out, and then you drop it down low to the ground as soon as you possibly can. You never want to travel with any piece of equipment. You never want to travel with a load higher up in the air than it needs to be.
Okay.
Unless you need to clear something. But in this case, you're just going to lift it up enough to clear that bottom tote, back up nice and slow, and then slowly drop it down to the ground.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Let's see what you got. And when you're doing this, always keep your eye on that top tote, because that's what's going to fall off. Your forks are going to be in that bottom one, so keep your eye on that top one.
How much should I tilt it back a little bit?
You don't want to tilt it back at all. I said you want to lift it straight up. Yep. The only reason you tilt back with these when they're loaded is because it brings the center of gravity back closer to the machine. The farther something is out on the forks, the heavier it's going to be, because you got to think about this machine. The front of your tracks here, it's like a seesaw, right? So that's the pivot point when you have something on your forks. All right? So the closer, that's why you always want your load as close into the forks and as low to the ground as possible. Keeps your center of gravity lower. All right? So give it a little gas. There we go. All right. when they're level. That way you have a visual representation. You tell me when you think they're level.
I'd say that's pretty close.
That's pretty close. You need to lift them up a little bit more. Little bit more. Good. Now, the forks are looking nice and flat. Now, the nice thing about this machine is the visibility is great. So you can look down in that gap and watch your forks go right in. So I'd say, yeah, they need to come down, boom, just like that. Remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Beautiful. Yep. Now you're just gonna lift up a little bit. Beautiful. Good. Now slowly back out. All right, good.
Am I clear?
You're clear. Now the thing is, when you drop this down, the forks are gonna stay at the angle that they're currently at. So you have to adjust that angle as you bring it down, okay?
So I have to, while I'm bringing it down, move it to the right side, right?
No, you're gonna wanna move it to the left. Basically, you're gonna wanna put this joystick up to that corner because it'll do two functions at once. You can lower and angle your forks at the same time. You'll see what I mean. Just do it, stop moving back, yep. Now just do it nice and slow. Now see, you gotta, yeah, there you go. Now tilt it in. You see what I mean? Now if you go up, watch me. All right. You could do it simultaneously, see? There you go, beautiful. See how it's staying nice and level? Very nice job, good job. Now same thing with this, you know, you have one higher, it bounces around from going from here to the machine, so just pick it up a little bit off the ground. Good, now you're good. Just take it nice and slow. All right, I feel better. We've been making some pretty good progress here in stacking these totes up to make more room in the drying section of the Woodyard. I'm doing rows 5 deep, so that gives me 10 totes in each row. So, I mean, you could just see how much room we are saving here. So we got, let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40. This will be 50. Obviously, we got a lot more. I'd say that we're probably right around the 100 tote mark of full, you know, ready to go firewood. Well, I take that back, not ready to go, but it will be ready to go for next season. We're probably right around that 100 tote mark, which is a great place to be, because as you can see behind me, we don't have a ton more to fill up. I do have a lot of totes out at customers that I will be getting back. So once, you know, as we get those back and they start trickling in, now that, you know, we're about halfway through the winter season, we can just keep filling those up as well. I gotta say, man, this little Baumalight mini skid steer is impressive. At first, when I, you know, set out to do this, I was using the tractor because this thing was away back up in Canada getting the upgrades done to it, but I am super impressed. The tractor did a good job, but the problem with the tractor is it's a lot wider than these totes, so you have to leave the rows a lot wider for the tractor to be able to fit in, whereas this machine is narrower than the totes, so you can get up nice and close, and you know, you don't feel like you're trapped up against a wall of firewood here. And you know, as I've gotten a little more accustomed, just like anything, to using this to do this particular task, I gotta say I'm super impressed. I mean, most of this wood is oak, and I am very impressed with how it is picking up these big, large totes of oak that is not fully seasoned. So super happy with that. I gotta go hop on the excavator and push more rounds up closer to the splitter for Alex. Okay, so he's wrapping up. Got these totes pretty much filled up. We just gotta level them out, and that will be the day. Made a pretty considerable dent in the pile of rounds here. He's been doing a great job. I'm really happy with the way that Alex has been working out here and just taking it nice and slow, and you know, learning. He doesn't take criticism in a bad way. Not that I've been criticizing him, just, you know, helpful, friendly reminders, and I think he's been enjoying his time here. Well, all right, guys, I think that's gonna wrap up today's video. Alex, you did a great job.
Thank you.
We got I think 6 totes done today.
Yep, 6
which,
totes.
you know, that's no record, but I wasn't helping Alex at all. He was doing the splitting and like moving all the pieces. He wasn't getting any help from me. As you guys saw, I was on the Baumalight stacking up these totes to make room, and I'm super happy with the progress that both Alex did on the splitter and I was able to accomplish in moving these totes. What'd you think about, you know, now that you've been working here, you know, several times now? I don't know exactly how many hours you have on these machines, but what are you thinking for somebody that's new, never done firewood before?
So far it's been good. I mean,
Camera's over there, dude.
Oh, yeah, true. You know, it's been like one of my first times doing this stuff. Jake's given me the opportunity to do all these new machines, and I've never done any of this before. So it's been pretty cool to start operating all this stuff, getting some hours behind the wheel. And yeah, I mean, the Baumalight was pretty cool to operate. Today was like my first like official day like operating like by myself. Granted, Jake was off to the side like guiding me through everything. I thought it was cool. It was a really nice machine to use. Very, I think, beneficial for us here at the Woodyard. And it can only go up from here, you know?
Exactly. It's, you know, you just got to get used to it. It's kind of like a little bucking bronco at first. You know, it bounces you around. But like I was saying, I think it was off camera, there's like good bounces and there's bad bounces. There's bounces that'll lead to tipping, which obviously you want to try to avoid those. But normal, you know, just jostling around is, you know, par for the course with that machine. And I thought you did an excellent job operating it. I've been telling Alex, you know, off camera, he's been working quite a bit here. You know, what is it? Smooth is slow, slow is fast, or something like that? Smooth, what did I say? Of course, now that we're on camera, I can't remember it. But you guys know what I'm getting at. Just take it slow. You know, there's no race. And he's been taking that to heart, and he does a great job. So it's been helpful to me to teach him these other machines. That way I can be off doing something else. And I know that the machines and, you know, the whole process is in good hands. So as always, guys, I hope you liked the video. Don't forget, today's video is sponsored by Camel City Mill Socks. Go check them out in the description below. Lately, a ton of people have been buying these socks. So I'm guessing those are the people that didn't get socks in their Christmas stocking. So if you're one of those guys and your wife forgot about your feet, go do yourself a favor, buy yourself some Camel City Mill socks. You will not regret it. But as always, guys, if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. Consider clicking that subscribe button down below. Questions, comments, feedback, throw it in that comment section. But for now, I'm Jake.
I'm Alex.
This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.